I've seen it 3.5 times. My view count on this is going up, up, up. It's our moment. I know I am very late to the party on this one, but not long ago, I checked out Kpop Demon Hunters. It returned to the big screen. Was it even on the big screen before? Well, it came back, the sing-along version. Fortunately, there weren't too many people in the theater singing along, though there was a little kid in front of me who was singing her heart out. It was really cute. I'd heard a lot about it. I had a feeling I would like it. I did not realize I would love it and that it would probably end up on my list of favorites for the year, or at the very least, honorable mentions. This movie is a blast for various reasons. I honestly have no cons that I can think of when it comes to this film. The big screen experience was absolutely worth it. The songs, so immersive. The animation, gorgeous. Loved the animation, loved the writing, loved the characters. There are some very catchy songs that are part of this story, and I'm someone who doesn't typically like musicals, though I don't really feel like this is a musical. I don't really consider a lot of animated films to be musicals. To me, a musical is when it's something that's live action and people break into song. Very rarely do those work for me. But for the times that they do, they work really, really well. And if you're going to classify this as a musical, this is going to be another one of those times that it works very well. Excuse me, my dog wants to get up in my lap. Hold on. Come here, Levi. Come on. Here you go. So anyway, adore this movie. It's one of those films I could watch and rewatch and rewatch, much like how I have with other films on my list of favorites for this year. The basic story is, and in some ways, it reminded me a little bit of Sinners. Not exactly, but there is a story element in here that made me think of Sinners when I first saw it. So the premise is this. The world used to be overrun by demons, but then they were pushed back by these warriors of 3 women who used the power of their singing, the power of their voice, to create a shield over the world and protect the world from demons. And so it's like a generational thing. There would be this group of women demon hunters. They also would kill demons too. I mean, they would go out and hunt them. But their power was in their voice, was in their singing, and it was handed down. This power would just go from one generation to the next to the next. I don't know if they were all necessarily related, but we get to today's group of singers, and they're the ones that we're familiar with in the pictures. You know, Rumi has the purple braid, Zoe is the little American, and oh gosh, I forgot, Mira is the other one. Mira is the wild child. And now they've gotten to the point where if they do something strong enough, this performance, this singing, they can create the golden Hanmoon, which is, the Hanmoon is the shield over the world, protecting them from demons. And so they're very, very close to being able to turn that thing golden. There's a song in here called Golden, and it has multiple meanings, not just the story of creating the golden Hanmoon, but also just what they're going through, their golden moment, they're going up, up, up. It's their moment, you know, stuff like it. The songwriting in this film is so good. Anyway, okay, so they're very close to being able to create this golden Hanmoon and protect the world permanently, so the demons will not be able to come through anymore. And then we're introduced to an element of, well, we're introduced to the conflict. Something happens to prevent them from accomplishing this goal initially. And so they have to work through this problem to be able to figure out how to banish the demons. And you find out something about the character of Rumi. There are 3 girls in here, the 3 main girls, but the main story focus is on Rumi, the chick with the big purple dragon braid, upside down French braid. You find out stuff about her and her inner struggles. And I don't want to tell you too much if by chance you haven't seen it, but I feel that the writing in here and the story as it's focused on Rumi adds a lot of depth to this story, more than I was expecting for an animated anime/film. Now, I like anime. Generally, I'm not super into it, but I do like it. And I do feel that a lot of times we get much better quality writing from Asia, from Korea, from Japan. And that's why anime is so popular. It's not because of the art style, or maybe that's part of it, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is the writing is really good, and they don't generally insert what we call, the message or the woke narrative or whatever. It's not really part of the way they think when they make these stories. And it's just so relatable. The struggles that these girls are going through, the self-doubt that Rumi has, and the very well blended moments of comedy with the animation. The dialogue is really funny. The voice acting is very good. They had the voice actors, but then they also had separate people that did the singing. And one of the main singers, who was the voice of Rumi as the singer, I'm not sure if she sang every one of the songs that Rumi sang, but I know she did multiple ones. That is a singer called EJ, and she wrote the songs, or most of them. I love the songs in this movie so much, I bought the soundtrack. And the soundtrack has been like on the top Billboard top 10 or whatever. There's multiple songs from the soundtrack that had been or have been or are in the Billboard top 10 still. What, I don't know if they still are, because this movie, I'm late to the game on it. But what reminded me about Sinners was a little in reverse. You know how in Sinners, the main character, the power of his voice was able to reach across the realms, and these other entities like demons, or in the case of Sinners, vampires, were drawn to this. It brought them out into the world of man because of the power. It's like it opened up a portal between the underworld or the demon realm or whatever and the realm of mankind. It's kind of like that, except in reverse. It's the power of these women's voices that can close off that opening, can seal that portal. And I liked the strong, positive messaging in here about handling internal conflict and fighting your inner demons as much as the actual literal ones that they were fighting in the story. And the character of Rumi is dealing with something that causes her a great deal of fear and shame. I had written down this quote, and I don't know if it was a quote I saw in a review or if it was something that was mentioned in the movie itself, but it was about Rumi's shame, and it was how that her shame started to destroy the one thing that gave her purpose, which was her voice. What she's going through was surprisingly deep and relatable. I think it could be relatable to many people because we all have our own demons that we're struggling with. Some of us have more of them than others, but there is not a person on this world who has gone through life without some sort of inner conflict that has caused them a great deal of angst and shame and worry and fear. And something interesting that I read about this story was that it originally had a much darker ending. I'm not sure why they changed that. I think it would have been interesting if they had explored that a little further. They really don't touch on it to the extent of what I know was in the original story. I have heard that there is a second movie that will be coming out, of course, because this one was so popular. And Netflix bought this thing up from Sony Animation for basically a steal. That's not going to be happening the second time around. Pretty sure Sony is going to up that price because this film, it got hardly any promotion until it came out, and it just took the world by storm pretty much. I mean, so many people loved it, and I saw so many people talking about it, and I was curious, wanted to see it, was going to watch it, but then when I saw it was coming to the theater, I was like, I am going to watch this on the big screen. I'm really glad I did. Back to other things that I really liked. There were funny, silly moments in here, but they weren't goofy to the point that it snapped me out of the moment like sometimes can happen in comedies. There is so much going on visually and narratively that you'll miss certain references or Easter eggy type things the first, second, maybe third time around. I know there's stuff that I haven't even picked up on yet. One of the examples is the character of Zoe. So they're all Korean in their ethnicity, but Zoe was born in America. And her character was represented in such a way that very explicitly demonstrated that she was American. It had to do with the food that she ate, the general Korean customs that she did not abide by because she wasn't born in Korea and that just wasn't her thing, and how she hurt her back when she bowed too low. It's just little silly stuff like that. It was really good. And the comedy is built into the animation as well. It felt very anime-ish. You will know what I'm talking about. If you've watched anime, you're going to know what I mean when you see this, if you haven't already. It's obviously, like 3D animated for the most part, but you know how anime characters will have these goofy, funny looks on their faces when something comedic is happening? That was also going on in here. It wasn't too over the top or crazy. It was just very anime. It just was. These comedic moments enhanced the humor of what was going on at the time. Something that I thought was kind of funny is because these chicks are demon hunters, part of their performance revolves around them killing demons. And what's kind of funny is the audience has no idea that it's actual real fighting that's happening. They think it's just special effects and they're so impressed by it all. It's kind of funny. The whole aesthetic of this film was playful, but it could also be surprisingly touching, tender moments that kind of grabbed me in a way I wasn't really expecting, and very cinematic. If you can watch this on the biggest screen you can find, do that. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year, and I never would have thought at the beginning of the year that a film like this would end up on my list of favorites, but after I saw it, I just really liked it, and I couldn't stop thinking about it and those songs, and I went on YouTube and I was watching videos about EJ, and I was watching videos about people reacting to these songs, musicians, rappers, metalhead people loving their reaction to this music. And I ended up rewatching it in Spanish, and then I watched it a third time, got halfway through it, then went back and rewatched it all over again in English. So I've seen it 3.5 times. And if they do end up coming out with a Blu-ray of this or DVD or whatever, I will be buying it. I hope they do, but I don't know. It's on Netflix right now, so who knows when something like that will come out, if ever. But if you like musicals, if you like animated films, if you like movies, stories from Korea, this was written in English originally, voiced in English. There is a lot of Korean sprinkled throughout, but they have other dubs, of course, on Netflix. The Spanish dub is okay, but you know how when they translate, it kind of changes the meaning a little bit of some of the songs. I'll give you an example. The final song, at the end is, "This is what it sounds like." That's part of the chorus. Well, in Spanish, the way it's translated is "our voices together." Little different. Feel like it dilutes it a tad. The singing in the Spanish language version, not as magnificent as what we get in the English version. It's not bad. It's just, if you can listen to it in the original language of English first, you will be in for a treat. These songs are very poppy, which I kind of like pop music more than most other types of music, but the story itself also just so well done. I was so impressed with it. If you can't tell, I love this movie. So I think I'm going to stop slobbering all over it now and go ahead and wrap this up. That's all I have to say for now about Kpop Demon Hunters. If you guys have seen it, tell me, did you love it as much as I did? Or is like, I don't know. I don't think it's just me. I think this film was pretty doggone popular with a lot of people across all demographics, age-wise specifically, and I can see why. It's popular with good reason. If you haven't seen it yet and you are open to the possibility, I think you'll like it. If you don't, obviously, not everybody likes animated films. Not everybody likes anime-type films. Not everybody likes music in their films. Of course, that's always a caveat, but I do think that most of you will like it if you take the time to check it out. And I think that's it for this one. Bye.